This is the Mind of the Meanie. Here are your hosts, the Blue Meanie and Adam Barnard.
Peace, world, and welcome everybody to the Mind of the Meanie, your weekly peek into the world according to former WWE superstar and ECW original, the Blue Meanie. We'll cover wrestling, music, movies, sports, and lots of useless knowledge, all contained in the Mind of the Meanie. I'm your tour guide, Adam Barnard, and he is the Blue Meanie. Meanie? What's on your mind?
Brother. Night before the show, I go, oh, man, what can we talk about?
Yeah.
And then, the Bloodline,
Yeah.
2.0. I'm going to call him the Bloodline 2.0.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because it turns on Paul Heyman because I believe the original OG Bloodline will make its return.
Yeah. For sure.
You know what I'm saying?
For sure.
Yeah, I was watching, I watch SmackDown on DVR, because I hate commercials. Anytime a commercial comes on, I just hit the mute button.
Yep.
So it's just easier for me to watch TV, DVR'd, fast forward. And, I watched that final segment, where Solo and crew come out. They're going to have a new acknowledgement ceremony. And this all goes back to last week where, Solo turns to Paul and goes, Roman ain't coming back. Like, ooh.
Jesus Christ, man.
Heat. And it's like, oh, man.
Yeah.
And the week before, he asked CM Punk, please take me with you. The Paul Heyman, please take me with you.
Take me with you.
Which is a sign of desperation, but still popped me.
Yeah.
It's like, Paul Heyman deserves an enemy,
Yeah.
Paul Heyman deserves an enemy. But, they do the thing, and every member of 2.0, BL 2.0, acknowledges Solo.
Yeah.
And it comes down to Paul. And Paul, fucking brilliant, He's unshaven. He hasn't dyed his hair. His eyes are red. Like he smoked with fucking RVD or something. And he's just like, oh no. And here's what's brilliant about WWE storytelling. Like I said, like last week with the Wyatt Sicks debuting, and they did a teaser of showing the gorilla position when Drew quits. He goes back, so you get a vision of how normal the gorilla position was before the Wyatt Sicks destroyed it. Right.
Yep.
So this week, we get the unfortunate news that Wyatt Samoa and Sika passes away. Wyatt Samoa and Sika, the father of Roman Reigns, passes away. And I got so many memories of the Wyatt Samoans, man, growing up. WWF fan, and how they terrorized me and scared the shit out of me as a kid. In Madison Square Garden.
Right.
They bring up the graphic on the big screen. The crowd's chanting, Sika, Sika. They're paying a beautiful tribute to Sika. It was about like 2 minutes long. And in that video, they show Sika putting the red. I think it's more than a lei, but they're over around Roman's neck, and Afa and Sika acknowledging Roman as the head of the table, the tribal chief.
Mm-hmm.
They show that in the memorial, and flash forward, Solo's face to face with Paul Heyman, and he's got a bag. He takes out that same for the lack of not knowing, I'll call it a lay.
Yeah.
He's got the lay that Sika put around Roman's neck. And Heyman starts openly weeping, knowing the significance, what it signifies. That was the lay that Sika, Roman Reigns' father, put around Roman's neck to acknowledge him as the tribal chief. Now, it comes to, the verbiage. Acknowledge me. He says, acknowledge me.
Yep. Which
is basically Roman's thing. Acknowledge me. You did that beautiful breakdown of why, Roman says, acknowledge me,
Yeah.
And I believe it's still on your Twitter. You got pinned to your top of your page, maybe still, or?
Yeah. I mean, I just pinned it with the Chad Gable article, but typically, yeah, the Jey Uso tweet, the thread is still up there, but yeah.
What you could do is in the comment section or in the description, put that thread, please.
For sure. I'd be happy to.
Because Solo took two personal things of Roman's. The lay that Sika put around Roman's neck and his acknowledge me in Madison Square Garden the night they paid tribute to Sika. And Paul Heyman goes, I acknowledge that you're not the tribal chief.
Man.
And the crowd explodes, right? And they destroy Paul Heyman. Jacob Fatu comes off the top rope with the diving headbutt, and they put the power bomb, or I'll give it a throwback to ECW, super bomb. Paul Heyman through the table, and Solo declares himself the new tribal chief. And I have to say this, I can't wait till WWE is off of Fox.
Yeah, God, yes, dude.
Fox TV, Fox Network totally ruined that segment.
Yeah.
The crowd's, passionate, they're cheering, they're chanting. And during the segment, Fox cuts to black.
Yeah.
And, the most important part of the show is when they, you show the, BL 2.0, Bloodline 2.0, putting the fingers up, acknowledging, and Corey Graves is trying to sell this on commentary as the outline for the show. I don't mean outline like a book report. I mean, the line that's going to lead them out of the show.
Right.
The cliffhanger. And you couldn't hear it because Fox muted the TV show because fans are being emotional and swearing. And who cares, right? It's ambient noise.
But it's also,
they're not swearing directly into the mic.
It's also just the word shit, though. Like, it's not even like it's that big. Like, I don't. And the other part, to your point, like, they blacked out the beginning part of when Paul started to talk. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Paul. Like, that's the best fucking part of the whole thing. And, like, they did that over the course of the night. There was multiple parts of the show that were fucked up because they were blacked out or you could. It's like, come on, guys, this is unwatchable.
But that happened. I'm just sitting there going, man. As we say hello Vanessa Bella, who's in our chat, amongst all of our great folks here at patreon.com/mindofthemeanie. But to get back on my point, dude, when Roman Reigns returns, the power of the emotion of which he returns is going to register as an earthquake with the crowd reaction of how he comes back. Mm-hmm. Because, Roman loses the belt. Roman loses his father. They try to overthrow him in the bloodline. They disrespect him on the night that his father passed away, and they're paying tribute to his father who just passed away in Madison Square Garden, where his father, made his trade, WWF or WWF tag team champions in Madison Square Garden. I mean, reality, sometimes the best storylines involve real life. And unfortunately, his father passed away, but I think his father passing away kind of expedited this because it's in Madison Square Garden and they're paying tribute.
Yep.
All right, we're turning on Heyman this week. I don't know for a fact,
but it feels right.
That's how I feel. Yeah, it felt right. And when Roman, I'm calling it right now. Solo's Bloodline. Roman comes back with the Usos, with Cody, and with Sami Zayn. Yep. The original Bloodline, all baby faces. Well, Cody wasn't in the original Bloodline, but he's going to join them because he's been battling Solo.
Yeah.
You know? And maybe even Sami Zayn. You know, they do like a Survivor Series War Games. I don't know. Is it 5-on-5, I believe?
I think it's usually 5-on-5, yeah.
5-on-5 or 4-on-4. But if it's 5-on-5, yeah. Roman, Cody, Usos, Sami Zayn. Yeah. Survivor Series. I have a feeling he'll come back at SummerSlam.
Mm-hmm.
That's a month and a half away from here.
Yeah.
For some reason, it feels farther, but it's about a month and a half from here. And Roman will return at SummerSlam, I believe. Mm-hmm. And then they'll have a couple things going on. And then once October, November rolls around, Survivor Series, War Games, Bloodline versus Bloodline.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Man, book it. Fucking inject it into my veins, brother.
Yeah, book it, man. I just did a post. So it's funny. I do a show for ad-free shows on Saturday mornings, and I was, waiting to come into here, and I was looking at somebody's post and on Facebook. I was going to comment in the post. I was like, why am I going to use this point of view on somebody else's page? Let me just post it as my own. I went and posted it on Facebook and Instagram and Twitter.
I'm pulling it up right here so I can show everybody here. This is the post from today.
The fact that Solo crowned himself the new tribal chief of the Bloodline, the fact that Solo and crew destroyed Paul Heyman, the fact that they did it the night they paid tribute to Roman Reigns' father, Sika, in Madison Square Garden of all places. Roman Reigns returning to extract revenge will measure as an earthquake from the crowd pop. Book it.
Yep. Fucking A-right, dude.
Yeah, man.
Absolutely will.
Yeah.
Shit's going to be nuclear.
But getting back to Fox, how much I fucking hate watching SmackDown on Fox. Triple H was on Pat McAfee this week, and they were talking about going to streaming.
Mm-hmm.
And he brought up this point. He's like, well, when we go to Netflix, we're not going to have this problem of somebody's changed bullshit that they go to black or they cut the audio. It's and he's like, we're not slagging any of our partners who want to be everywhere, but it kills the product. Because what are you going to do? What are you going to do? You're going to, you have to. Now they had to put that whole segment up on YouTube, so fans who couldn't watch it on Fox now have to see what was done, what was said.
Yeah.
On YouTube, which defeats the whole purpose of being on Fox. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Let me see. I know I got the quote somewhere here.
It's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. It took away, and again, not even just from the Bloodline segment, it took away from a significant portion of the show. There were large chunks of the show last night that, they don't feel like they're large, right? Like, it doesn't feel like it's a long time, but like, you got to remember on television, like I remember when I worked in even in college radio, Dead air is bad air. You never want to have dead air, right? So like we always used to have background noise running, like some kind of like beat, like hip hop beat or some kind of noise, just so that if people tuned in, we just had something running. And even when we were doing our shows. But I think for something like that, it's just like you're talking about. I think it was the Logan Paul segment. They had a significant. It felt like it was closer to 10 seconds of black screen, and it's like just this is fucking ridiculous. This is crazy.
Yeah. To get an exact quote, Triple H on the Pat McAfee show, Triple H said, right now, just an example for us being on Fox, if the crowd chants, holy shit, or something much worse, they just take the audio. We won't have those issues. We won't have those issues on Netflix, says Triple H. It's a game-changing moment, I think, in many ways, not to disparage other partners because we want to be everywhere, but streaming is sort of how the world is heading. And I agree.
Yeah. Like
we were talking in the Blue Room before we came on air, which you can do with us over at patreon.com/meaniesaults. And we were saying, hey, man, dude, I went to a 2 years ago, I went to a concert, but the Phillies were in the playoffs. So I'm at the concert with the game on my phone on YouTube TV.
Yeah.
Back in the day, you had to make a choice of, do I want to go to a concert or am I going to stay home and watch the game? I watched the game at the concert. So, and that's how wrestling can be, you never have to miss anything. You can watch it anywhere. And, with this Netflix deal, they're going to be like in 80% of the world. I mean, in the United States, they'll be on Netflix. SmackDown will be on USA. NXT will be on the WB, the Dub B.
Yep.
Or, the WB, right? And then in the rest of the world, all those shows will be on Netflix, which will be awesome. I don't know if you're going to have the whole entire library on there, like, the WWE network.
I think for overseas subscribers, like people outside the United States, I think they're going to have the library, like all Raw, SmackDown, any PLEs. I think because I think the Peacock deal is just domestically. So I feel like eventually Netflix is going to end up with the archive. Like I just feel like that's kind of where things are heading. Not for anything. Peacock is not an easy app to use. Like it's a very difficult thing to navigate, and it crashes a lot. And they have a lot of great content on there. I'm not knocking that. Like a lot of great stuff to watch. But like for a setup the way that WWE has, I feel like Netflix just feels like a much better setup. It feels like it's much that the infrastructure is in a better place than maybe Peacock is.
Right.
So,
dude, there's nothing more frustrating than watching a WWE PLE and I get the yellow ring of death where it freezes and I get that little yellow circle that keeps going around. And then I got to back out. Yeah. I got to come back in, and it's brutal.
It's awful.
Yeah. And it's hard to navigate to look for like archive stuff. Like if I want to look through documentaries, I got to jumps through a couple different like hoops. It's like, when you have a car that won't start, but if you put your foot on the brake and you hold the steering wheel at a certain thing and you turn the key just right,
yep,
your car will start. That's how navigating Peacock is.
That's literally what it's like.
Yeah. Well, when I put on the brakes and I'm sitting at the red light, there's a little rattle, but if I put the car in neutral, it'll stop. Which is I'm kind of going through right now, but but yeah, that's the Peacock for you.
Hang tight here just 1 second, folks. We're having a little bit of lag time issues here. Want to make sure we're in good shape. Hold on before we get back on it.
You look good on my end, sir. You're very handsome.
Thank you, as are you, sir. I appreciate that. Thank you. I'm cutting it right there. I'm going to cut it right back in there. No context, no nothing. But no, I feel like that's kind of, that's really been the biggest issue, I think, for a lot of people. I didn't have any issues with the network. I never had any issues with pulling that kind of stuff up. I don't know, man. I just thought it was. I thought for me, it didn't really make sense why they went to Peacock in the first place outside of a financial agreement. But it's also kind of like, well, I guess I get it. But I feel like, the network was just so much more user friendly. And, I'm excited to see what they end up doing with Netflix. But I did want to ask, because I wanted to go back to something we were talking about, because we didn't get a chance to really talk about Jacob Fatu the last time we were on the air, because he debuted the night we were recording. So I wanted to get your thoughts and go back to what you thought about Jacob Fatu's surprise entry into the WWE, what you thought of the segment, and what you think they're going to do with him going forward.
It really wasn't a surprise to me. I had a feeling that Jacob was going to make his way to the WWE, and it looks like the in-between time from his last time I saw him at MLW to his debut at WWE, he really got beefed up.
Yeah.
Which, he wasn't in bad shape, but you could tell he, it's an upper body business kid. As Rick Rudy used to always say. Dude, I loved it. I love Jacob. Great kid, respectful kid. I would see him at MLW, and he'd be one of the few wrestlers that would come up and ask for advice. And I'm like, bro, you're in the Samoan dynasty there. I'm sure you got a huge tree to pick some leaves from, some learning, to learn from. But he would ask me for advice, and I would give it to him, and, it's awesome. So, dude, I am so happy for him. Jacob, son of the Tonga kid, another guy I grew up watching wrestling, and that whole Samoan family who I love dearly. It's great. He's going to do an amazing thing. It's weird seeing him in boots now because he usually wrestles barefoot. Mm-hmm. But I'm excited for it. I'm excited to see where the storyline goes. You knew he was kind of coming, right? Yeah. You knew he was going to WWE. It's just a matter of when, not if. And he's going to do amazing things. He could be, to me, the new Umaga.
Yeah.
Just the Samoan bulldozer. I love this. I'm glad they're going with Samoan werewolf.
Yeah. Yes.
That's amazing.
Yeah, they really did him justice with the entrance. They kept the
Samoan music that was great.
It was so good. And, again, the fact that they kept his name, they kept the moniker, the whole, they didn't really change much of anything about his appearance, how they present him. Flawless, absolutely fucking flawless.
Yes.
So I am excited. I remember I got to see him wrestle at MLW show. I can't remember the name of the show, but it was the one where Hammerstone won the MLW title. I believe you were there that night, if I recall correctly.
Yes.
But I remember I was backstage, I think it was Candice Cordelia, and George Napolitano was there as well.
George Napolitano, yeah.
And as media, we were there with the media team. We walked back, and Jacob happened to be there. And he was very nice. He walked right up. Hey, man, how's it going? Hope you enjoyed the show. Just kind of walking around, doing his thing. Just a really awesome guy. And I feel like he's definitely the kind of guy that he's the total package, right? He can talk, he can wrestle. If you've never seen him, if you're listening to this and you've never seen him do anything, the jump that he did, the splash onto Cody on the table is literally just scratching the surface. This guy is absolutely unbelievable in the ring. So I'm excited. I feel like I could see him being a world heavyweight champion. Actually, I could probably even see him being the WWE champion. I think he's that good. I think he's got enough stock, and I'm excited to see where they transition him to. So,
yeah. Speaking about MLW, I have a friend, Giovanni Hamilton, who's been on the show. He's a super fan, all sports, all Philadelphia sports. He's recently relocated to Indiana. His family got a good job out there, but before they moved, I invited him out to an MLW show. After the show, bring him back. I want to introduce him to some of the wrestlers, and I was just standing there talking to him, and Jacob Fatu went out of his way, to come over. I was going to ask him anyway, but he made his way over without me having to say a word, and met Gio, went to his bag, got him an 8x10 sign, an 8x10, gave it to him, took photos, all that. That's how good of a guy Jacob Fatu is, man. Yeah. And that meant a lot to me because, Gio was there as my guest. Him and his family were there as my guest, and he showed the ultimate respect for my little buddy Gio.
That's awesome, man. Yeah, he's nothing but a great guy. I'm pulling up Muscle Man Malcolm's channel now. Friend of the show, Muscle Man Malcolm. If you go and subscribe to him right now, youtube.com/@MuscleManMalcolm. He's got a whole series of interviews that he's done for a couple of years now with Jacob Fatu. Really enlightening. Talks about the bloodline, talks about his career, talks about his family. Just incredible stuff. So if you really want to dive deep into that, please go ahead and check that out. I'd have Malcolm on, but he'd spend the entire time calling us old men because he's 24 and that's his thing apparently. So, but no, that's great. Okay. Yeah, listen.
Time will remember.
And you know what's great?
And when he turns 50, somebody will return their favor and remind him that he is now old.
The best part is when he comes over he lives close to us here, and he'll come over, hang out, sometimes play video games with us, and So James, my oldest son, will start calling him old and tell him how old he is. Hey, nice Crocs, Grandpa. Where'd you get them? And so it's just like circle of life. Circle of life.
Crocs. Do they come with a bowl of soup? Look good on you, though.
Yeah. I mean, no offense. Respectfully, you might want to take your.
Nothing good comes from when somebody says, "With all due respect."
No. Just because you say all due respect doesn't mean you can say whatever you want. Sure as hell does. So, no, great guy. Both of those guys.
Nothing.
Or respectfully, something wild's coming, man. Something insane is about to hit you, but. I wanted to go back just one more thing because I love this entire thing. There's been I feel like when we said it last week too, but WWE's been firing on all cylinders recently. I can't remember the last time where I actually didn't fast forward through anything on the shows. I watched everything last night. I watched everything on Monday night. I watched everything on NXT. What did you think about Paul taking that bump last night? What were your thoughts on him taking that power bomb? And could you have seen a Paul E from ECW taking that kind of bump?
Oh, yeah. I saw Paul get Tazplexed by Taz. They did that. Paul went after Fonzie and gripped up Fonzie, and Taz snuck up behind him and gave him a T-bone Tazplex. So he's taking bumps, and, that was a safe bump to take.
Yeah.
That was a safe bump to take. And the fact that Paul was one to take that bump just furthered the storyline and garnered that much more sympathy because, is Paul Heyman a heel? Yeah. But he's one of those heels that's still kind of over his babyface.
Yeah.
Always has been. Oh, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Paul Heyman. And the crowd just, if he was a true heel, they'd be like, fuck you. Mm-hmm. I said that now. Fox will cut the feed.
Just start putting black screen up every time we cuss.
Yeah, they just put in everybody's shows now, just doing black feeds.
And for our next trip, we're going to do George Carlin's 7 Dirty Words.
Yeah.
Start now,
Yeah.
Fuck, man.
But yeah, he represented the heels. He represented Brock. He represented Punk. He represented, Roman. But he was always kind of a babyface.
Yeah.
And in the sense that fans really appreciated how good he was. If you're that good, it's hard to get booed, know?
Yeah.
So the fact that, the tea leaves were there and the warning signs were there. Just made it the inevitable even more impactful that they put him through that table, and he was willing to take that bump.
Yeah, I figured I wasn't sure when it was going to happen, but I kind of knew that it was coming. There's only so much of the old guard you can carry with that new story. But again, the way Paul is a master of building the emotion and the suspense and the drama. And I mean, it was just perfect, like week to week since WrestleMania, week by week, they've been just building it beautifully. And I figured eventually it was going to come to a head, but no, I was kind of surprised just because, he's a little older now, doesn't move as quickly as he used to, but I was surprised that he kind of let him put him up that high.
It's not like Paul was Carl Lewis. I mean,
we're seeing both. Yeah, that's true. Yeah. But
Paul never really needed to be physical. His face was his moneymaker. And he was the beautiful art of just telling a story through expression.
Yep. And the
Paul is the master of that. I was fortunate to be under that learning tree.
And the tears, I mean, he can just turn it on too. Like that's a very unique skill to have, is to just be able to just at the drop of a hat turn the waterworks on. That is not easy, man.
I believe he touched base on that when he was on the Rick Rubin podcast too.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
About like how he brings on the tears. And if you haven't listened to Paul Heyman on the Rick Rubin podcast, please go give it it's lengthy, but it's really good.
It's I think it's like 3 hours or so. It's something crazy like that, but it's really incredibly engaging. So definitely when you're done listening to us, obviously you can go and check that out. But no, and then so just, as far as the Bloodline, I agree with you. I think Roman Reigns is probably going to make it back at SummerSlam. It seems like the right place to do it. It seems like the right time to do it. They'll be in a big arena. You're going to get your big pop. But the other story that's been building here, and I wanted to talk to you about this, because this past Monday, we got an update on the Wyatt Sicks. And they had for those who've seen it, and I believe you've seen it as well, with the VHS tape that they gave that was supposed to go to Pat McAfee. And they did an incredible segment with Bo Dallas talking to Uncle Howdy. And I wanted to talk to you about that and kind of get an idea of where you were on that.
You know what this reminded me of? Bo Dallas having a conversation with Uncle Howdy is a throwback to when Cactus Jack, a.k.a. Mankind, had his sit-down interview with Jim Ross.
Yes.
And, there was Mankind had been around, and they did this personality profile, and it ended with, he talked about his childhood, talked about how he was picked on as a kid, and, how he wasn't the most popular guy, and what led to him becoming this Mankind character and all this stuff. Except this time this is Bo talking to him, his alter ego, Howdy. And he's talking about how, he was the brother of one of the biggest stars in wrestling, and, he was meant to be with his brother, and he wanted to be a part of his brother's crew. And then, his brother passed away, and with Bray passing away and everything he went through with that. So in a way, this was him basically looking in the mirror and explaining the transformation and showing the person behind the Uncle Howdy character, as, the Mankind thing showed Mick Foley behind the Mankind character, showing the real life person behind the crazy supernatural character.
Yeah.
And it's leading up to where they'll eventually, once Uncle Howdy starts working, it'll just be people like, oh, that's Bo Dallas, Bray Wyatt's brother going through this thing.
Right.
with this, split personality type thing. And I think it was really well done, just in a dark room, nothing between them interacting. And, Bo talked as Bo, but, Howdy had this, other aura and personality about him. And I think it was really well done.
I loved so many things about it. Like banger after banger with this segment so far, with this whole setup, right? They didn't. What I prefer about this kind of stuff is that they're leaning into the reality aspect of it as opposed to the paranormal aspect, right? First question he asked him, how did you feel when your brother died?
Yeah,
I didn't expect. Holy shit! Where did that come from? And then, good.
Best part of wrestling is real of a storyline is bringing in real life elements into it. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. I was just thinking because then the next part is like, don't you think you're exploiting your brother's legacy? Like, they're literally just fucking hammering on everything everybody has said about this storyline. Like, they're
and that's doubt creeping into his own mind, because who can't relate to doubt creeping into, am I good enough for this? Am I good enough for that? Can I do this? Am I good enough? Am I worthy?
Is it going to work? Is it actually going to be what we want it to be? Like, fucking A, man. Like, and the fact that it's so raw, like Bo is, and I know the Solomonster talked about this on his program the other day, but if you watch the Bray Wyatt documentary, I think it's Becoming Immortal is the name of the show. Every time Bo is on the screen, he's emotional talking about Bray. Like, he's just devastated by this loss. And then he builds that into this story. And now you have your thread, right? You have the story. And then at the end, I'm not sure how many people noticed this because I don't recall if I heard Solomonster mention this, but like when they pan out, they have both of them sitting. And the dark room is actually the funhouse. It's the Firefly Funhouse. You can see the sign on the door, and you can see the stuff around them. So I'm almost hopeful in a lot of ways that it's almost like, to me, I hope, and I really hope they're right. You can bookmark this, y'all, if you're watching this. But Meanie, I'm going to throw this at you. I'm almost hoping, and I really hope they do this, that they reboot the Firefly Funhouse with Bo Dallas as the guy who hosts the Funhouse, and the puppets are all there. And it's like, hey, I'm the new host. It's almost like it's like a really fucked up version of Blue's Clues, like when Steve left and they brought the new host in. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what I'm thinking about. And it's like, God, that would be fucking incredible. Like, that would be so good, because now you have the actual physical representation and manifestation of the characters themselves. And you have this new thread where it's like, that's his thread, because you were always kind of trying to figure out what the thread was with Bray and the Fiend and the Funhouse, right? I
have a feeling they were eventually going to get to that, but
yeah. I think all of that was going to really tie together, because from a lot of some of the reports, I know Tom Colohue had talked about this frequently. That was like Joe Gacy's name had consistently come up. Dexter Lumis, Nikki Cross, like all Eric Rowan was supposed to be coming. Like, all of these things were already kind of in play, but once he died, that was something that they put on hold. So. I literally cannot get enough of this storyline, and I cannot wait to see where it goes from here. But I know there's been a lot of chatter about it too. I mean, as far as from a storyline perspective, would you prefer to see them do something like this with the rest of those people as well, to give them context and give them a part of the story to be like, this is why we're doing this. This is why we're here.
Yeah, especially with the Nikki Cross stuff. Like I said, they were kind of alluding, like, we were all wondering why she was standing there catatonic and just staring off into the space while all this chaos was happening around her. That would be the one I would want to see next.
Yeah.
Her talking to herself.
Yeah.
And with her, it could be, talking about, how she started in NXT, and then she became a superhero, and, all these other things that led up to her, coming under the spell of, the Wyatt, so to speak.
Yeah.
And, she's a great worker, great character.
Yeah.
I want to see that. I want to see her talk, almost do the same thing. But we shall see.
I'm excited, man.
We shall see, and that's it's another reason why. Yeah,
it's definitely going to be.
Yeah, and you know, yeah. I like you said, WWE's firing on all cylinders right now. Not only with the storyline, but the depth and the layers to it, and it's fantastic. It's not just dream matches thrown out there, and you know, there's meaning behind a lot of what they're doing.
And again, like we talk about, that's the difference. That's the difference between why people are tuning in and why people aren't tuning in. It's the story. It's the structure. It's not just putting this stuff together. Lucha has a comment here with Nikki Cross. They can tie it back to the Get Insanity. Absolutely.
And that's I was trying to think of Sanity. Yeah. And I just went, the NXT thing. But yes, thank you, Lucha. And thank you very much for the layup there.
Yeah. It's exciting, man. I'm looking forward to it. I'm curious though, like how they tie Dexter Lumis into it. You know, like he's the only one that I'm not really sure how they build the story. But I think, I like the fact that he's in the group. He's his character is fucking nuts. So it makes sense.
Him, Gacy, Eric, Rowan, and they were the lunatics of WWE, and it only makes sense to put them all in a faction together.
Yep.
It doesn't mean as much when you have a bunch of different crazy characters off on their own, but you put them into a faction together, it only makes all the sense in the world.
It makes more sense than Fox censoring and black screening everything. And I want to go back to this comment here. Andrew Bailey says the term, I believe, for Fox censoring the audio, and I would dare to say the video as well, is boner killer. And that is... That's literally what it is. Actually, Danny has a thought on that too.
This is a drizzling shit.
Every fucking time. So, but we also want to thank you all for being here every fucking time, listening to us. It's literally what it is, man. I fucking hate it so much. But again, what I don't hate is you being here right here today, listening to us on the show each and every week. We appreciate you. Now, normally this is the time of the show that we would do our favorite segment of the show, Ask Meanie Anything. However, next week, we have another installment coming up for you, an entire full episode of your questions for the Blue Guy. Ask Meanie Anything. Will be on next week. Same time, same bat channel. So we will have all your questions then for you as well. So, Blue, I want to thank you for doing the program. And I want to thank you, Pod Squad, for being here. Blue Guy, where can they keep up with all things Blue when they're not listening to us on the program?
If you would like to follow the Blue Meanie on all forms of social media, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, at Blue Meanie BWO, all forms of social media. If you would like to support the Blue Meanie, go to ProWrestlingTees.com/Blue Meanie. Get yourself a Meanie Mania shirt or a BWO shirt. If you would like to support Mind of the Meanie, go to ProWrestlingTees.com/Mind of the Meanie. Collar and Elbow, the wrestling brand, go to collarandelbowbrand.com. Use coupon code Meanie or use coupon code MINE. Either way, you save 10% over there at collarandelbowbrand.com. If you're in the Philadelphia area, go to JPT's for your t-shirt printing needs. JPT's is a family-owned business that makes quality printed shirts since 1986. Anytime I need shirts for conventions, JPT's is who I go to. So for more information, go to JPT's. That's the letter J, the letter P, the word TEES.com for all information. MadCatBeardCare.com. Get the Blue Spruce Beard Oil and Balm. Shout out to my boy Josh Thornton doing an amazing job over there at MadCatBeardCare.com. He rounds up all the feral cats in his neighborhood, takes them to the vet, and leaves them better than he finds them. So if you want to look good, smell good, go to MadCatBeardCare.com and get the Blue Spruce Beard Oil and Balm. The Ultra Pro Wrestling video game coming to all major consoles in 2024. Ultra Pro Wrestling contains not only original characters by the amazing Hal Haney, but many real-world wrestlers, including myself, and plenty I'm trying not to spoil. But if you want more information, go to ultraprowrestling.com or follow them on Twitter at UPW Video Game. That's ultraprowrestling.com or UPW Video Game on the Twitter. Figure collections, Bone Crushing Series Wrestlers 1 variants of the Blue Meanie are available now. All Series 1s can be ordered right now at shop.figurecollections.com. That's shop.figurescollections.com. Type Blue Meanie into the search bar and choose between normal Blue Meanie or BWO Blue Meanie. Either way, there's no wrong choice. To have the Blue Meanie on your podcast, go to podstars.net. That's podstrz.net. Register your podcast. Book the Blue Guy. And we have a conversation over there at podstars.net. Cameo.com/Blue Meanie. Start that one over. Cameo.com/Blue Meanie BWO for birthdays, holidays, and well wishes. Please book through the site, not through the app. The app takes way too much of your hard-earned money that you wanted to give to these to every talent on that website. So if you want to make somebody's day a little bit brighter, go to cameo.com/Blue Meanie BWO. But most importantly, Mr. Barnard, where can we find you, sir?
Well, thank you, sir. I appreciate that. You can find me on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, and Threads at This Is Goober. Yes, it's my handle. No, I'm not changing it. It's a brand pal, so you can find me there. You can also check out my other show, Foundation Radio, by going to youtube.com/@Foundation Radio Pod. Waiting for final approvals for my appearances for the media at SummerSlam this year in Cleveland, Ohio. So we may be doing some special stuff coming up for you soon, maybe even with this program. We will let you know. So Foundation Radio. You can also follow us on Twitter, because I'm never fucking calling it X, at FND Radio Pod. Shout out to the homies at the 10th Ward Barbershop in downtown Lawrenceville, in the outskirts of Pittsburgh. Go and ask for Kane, Jordan, and the rest of the team. Tell them Goober sent you. Schedule your appointment now at 10thwardbarbershop.com. The Feinberg Method. My trainer, Brad Feinberg, is ready to help you with your physical and mental well-being. So go to thefeinbergmethod.com and use promo code Goober and save up to 20% off of your training purchase. Thefeinbergmethod.com. ProWrestlingTees.com/Mind of the Meanie. ProWrestlingTees.com/Foundation Radio. Pick up a shirt and keep the lights on at Casa DeMeanie and the Barnard Home for Wayward and Troubled Youth. Don't forget to go to bodyslam.net and check out all my writing articles there. I have an article up there right now. Two of them have been published. My comparison of Chad Gable to the Greek mythology character named Ajax, and also the true end of the Attitude Era, which is The Rock and Steve Austin versus the NWO. And I have another piece brewing about Baron Corbin right now, so I'm hoping to have that released in the next week. But go check out bodyslam.net for all of that. Don't forget to go to patreon.com/Mind of the Meanie. Sign up today. Tier starting at just $10, Meanie, so you have no reason not to join us. $10 every week is pizza money. Also, above Meanie's head right there, go and subscribe. Like and subscribe. You can watch this video version of us on the YouTube, youtube.com/@Mind of the Meanie. Below is where you can find the show on Instagram and Twitter. Follow us there and keep up to date with all things Blue and Goob there. And we want to thank you for listening and watching the show. We appreciate you each and every week. We can't do this without you. So we appreciate. Tell a friend, tell a wrestler, or just tell someone you don't like at Wawa. You can maybe like, yo, cuz, this is a great show. I don't like you, but this is a great show. So we appreciate you, and I appreciate you, Blue Guy. Thank you for doing the show with us again.
Thank you.
This week for the Blue Meanie. I am Adam Barnard. Join us again each and every week as we take a trip through the mind
Blue World Order.
of the Meanie. Peace.
This episode of Mind of the Meanie is hosted and executively produced by the Blue Meanie and Adam Barnard. It was mixed and engineered by Carl Pinnell. Additional narration is provided by the executive voice, Sam Krebs. That's me. Our intro music was performed by the Swamp Candles. Our outro music was performed by Chikara. Additional musical accompaniment is performed by Enrichment. Follow us on Instagram and Twitter, or X or whatever, at Mind of the Meanie, and become part of the Pod Squad by going to patreon.com/Mind of the Meanie. Find our entire show archive at mindofthemeanie.com. This has been a Butts Carlton media production. Butts Carlton, proprietor.
Blue World Order.
That was Blue Meanie's brain out.